In today's video, I'm going to do a tabletop review of the Ruger LCP Custom. Now, this is a new offering from Ruger that was released sometime around January, so it's fairly new, and it has some big improvements done to it that many other Ruger LCP owners have been asking for. So, to start off with the unboxing, I'll talk about specs here in a second, but basically for the price you're not going to get a plastic box. You're going to get a cardboard box. Inside of this cardboard box is the instruction manual, which I won't go through. This is something to do with Ruger single-action revolvers, a Ruger sticker, Ruger joined the NRA. Thank you for purchasing a Ruger. Save 20% on Ruger sportswear and accessories at shopruger.com. Okay, more propaganda. shopruger.com for accessories, etc. This is a instruction manual insert for the Ruger LCP Custom, which states the front sight is permanently mounted and should not be removed by the consumer. Supplemental parts list talks about the slide screw guide rod, aluminum trigger, rear side screw. So that's that. What do we have inside the box? You get a Ruger carry case, a package. In this situation, it's signed by one individual. Serial number, date. This one's dated 2/13/2015. Obviously, it's a test round. This is the bag. I'm trying to think. I think the pistol came in this bag. Either that or the magazine came in it. You've got a chamber flag and a gigantic lock. I mean, this thing weighs a friggin' ton. This weighs more than the gun does. So, not a cheap lock, and it's got the Ruger name on it. And what else is inside the box? This is the magazine floor. This is the flat magazine floor, and it also comes with a pinky extension. So, and you get one magazine in the box. And this is basically the LCP Custom. So that's all the accessories and the little carry case. Let's talk about this. The Ruger LCP Custom, according to Ruger, the sell points with this are, of course, obviously we can see the skeletonized trigger here in red. It has a stainless steel guide rod. The aluminum trigger, let's see, what am I thinking? The take-up on this is extremely short compared to the first generation. The trigger pull, now I don't have a trigger pull measure here, but I did use one on this, and it came out to, well, about 7.5, 8 pounds, somewhere in that range. So the trigger pull is less, the trigger take-up is less, the base, or the actual trigger itself is much wider than a standard trigger on one of these smaller pistols. At least to me, you know, the Kel-Tec P3AT or the first gen Ruger LCP. the triggers were not as wide as this. This one is pretty nice for a small pistol like this. I'm quite surprised at how big of a difference this trigger makes on this gun. Now, I'm not sure I really like the red trigger, but I do like bling on my firearms, so I think this will be a prime candidate for some color fill to go along with the red trigger. But you know, if I was buying a trigger, I probably wouldn't buy a red one. I like the feel of this trigger. I like the pull. I like the take-up on it. I like the reset. It's so much better than the Kel-Tec P3AT and the first-gen Ruger LCP. The second-gen Ruger LCP, I think Ruger fixed a lot of the trigger issues, but I still like this aluminum trigger better than the polymer trigger on the second-gen Ruger LCPs, but that's just my taste. Now, like mentioned, this ships with a single 6-round magazine, and this magazine has the pinky extension on it. Now, I wear a size 7 glove, so I have small hands, and as you can see, my pinky's hanging off in la-la land down here, so I'm definitely going to get probably a 7-round magazine or an extended, something to extend the pinky extension. I'd like to have all my fingers up there. So something to keep in mind if you've got large hands, even with a 7-round magazine or a larger pinky extension, this may be too small for you. The other big noticeable difference on this are the sights. Look at those. These are huge. For a gun this small, those are huge sights. I like them. The previous LCPs, as well as the Kel-Tec P3AT, and the Kel-Tec P3AT is more or less the same, almost the same type of gun as this, same size, and they have virtually no sights on them. So, you know, anything past 4, 5, 6 yards, it's guesswork. That was a big drawback. That was one of my big pet peeves with those pistols, is the lack of sights. These are very usable. Man, they don't even need to be that big, but look at those things. They're huge. The front sight, it has a photoluminescent, which means after you charge it up with some light or sunlight or flashlight light, it will glow for a certain period of time. The rear has nothing. So if I was to nitpick this, I'll nitpick the fact that, okay, this is a pocket gun, and it's more or less going to be carried concealed in your pocket. So photoluminescent is kind of useless on something like this. It should have a tritium sight on it at a minimum. The front sight should be tritium, so it glows permanently. And then my second gripe would be the rear. I like a 2-dot on the rear, or even a single dot. So in low light conditions, it's easy to get the sights lined up. That's what I would prefer. But hey, you know, at this price point, you're not going to get everything that you want. I'm really happy that this actually has usable sights right now. The stainless steel guide rod right here is a nice addition. That was an upgrade that a lot of people would do, is replace the flimsy polymer guide rod with the stainless steel. I don't notice much else that was done to this, but again, I'm comparing this primarily to a Kel-Tec P3AT, which is what I used to own. I wanted it numerous times in the past to pick up an LCP, but the first gen, I hated the trigger on the first gen. The second gen came out. The trigger was much better. Almost picked one up, but the sights, I was like, yeah, I just can't do anything with those. Now, with this upgrade, with these sights, the trigger, I'm in love again. And yes, I am I'm a big fan of small pocket pistols like this. With a hot 380 load, I don't think you can go wrong with something like this. Now, would this be my ideal EDC gun? No. You know, I have a Smith & Wesson Shield for that. But in the summer months when, you know, you're not wearing a lot of clothes, even the single stack 9mm are getting hard. Well, to me, they're hard to conceal carry. But I have a small frame, so something like this can go in a pocket and inside the waistband holster, and you know, with shorts and a t-shirt, something like this isn't going to print. So I definitely prefer this for warm weather everyday carry. Also, one of the things that I'll comment on with the Ruger is the attention to detail. The finishing work on this is exceptional compared to, say, the Kel-Tec. You know, the finishing work on the slide, the polymer, I mean, is just so much nicer than the Kel-Tec. At least the Kel-Tec that I owned. Now, as for where you can get this, you can go to slickguns.com and punch in Ruger LCP. They've got a mechanism that shows you all the prices at a bunch of different online sellers, and you can get this for right now $289 with free shipping, which is very reasonable for what you're looking at here, in my opinion. So obviously you've got your FFL fees to factor in on that, and of course tax if you live in a jurisdiction that's going to charge you tax. But you know, $289 is very reasonable for this. Let's see if Ruger has any information I can read. Now, pretty much the updates that I mentioned are what Ruger has on their website. The same construction and ultra-compact dimensions have not changed. So the width of this is 0.8 inches wide. They list the weight at weighing less than 10 ounces, unloaded. The actual weight is 9.4 ounces. Now, that weight is actually a little bit more than the Kel-Tec P3AT. So this does weigh more, but oh my God, it's a much better built gun. The factory magazine is 6+1 round, 6+1 in the chamber. Glass-filled nylon frame. And of course it ships with 1 6-round magazine. So those are basically the specs I have on it. There are a few aftermarket upgrades you can get for this. A lot of them have to do with the grip. You can also get a 13-pound recoil spring. You know, I will state right off the bat that these small 380s are not extremely pleasant to shoot. You know, so if you're going out to the range to have a fun day shooting, these are definitely not the gun for that. This gun, the P3AT Kel-Tec, even I had another 380 Walther PPK. None of those are extremely pleasant to shoot for an extended period of time. But you know, if you're going to use one of these as an everyday carry, you're going to want to take it to the range, and some of these need to be broke in. You need to test ammunition, and don't just test cheap ammunition. You want to you know, run a box of your everyday carry ammo through it. So depending upon what you're going to be carrying, you know, if you're going to rock Corbon, or you're going to do some Hornady, this is critical defense. If you're going to rock this type of ammunition on your everyday carry, you want to make sure that your new ultra compact everyday carry gun actually cycles this, and then, you know, shoot a box of it through the gun. Go down to the range, take a box of the stuff you're going to carry and put it through the gun, and make sure that there's no issues with it. That is very good advice if you own a Kel-Tec P3AT. That gun is very particular about the ammunition. It needs to be broke in, and the Kel-Tec P3AT won't cycle this stuff. This stuff cycles great, so it's real picky about the ammunition. The Ruger is much more receptive to different types of ammunition. I don't think you're going to have that type of problem where you've got to be selective about your everyday carry ammunition with the Ruger. I have not shot this yet. I just picked this up, so this is more or less a tabletop review. I'm going to pop the slide off in a minute, and we'll take a look at the inside once I'm done talking about everything else. So in going back to aftermarket, we've got the 13-pound recoil spring, and there's some magazines and some pinky extensions, and Hogue has a nice grip. If you punch out this pin right where my thumb is, and you can install the Hogue grip, and it makes it a little bit more comfortable for people. I might try that as well and do a review of the Hogue grip for this also. I will also do a range day shoot with this, and I'll let you know my comments on this. I'll try to shoot some different ammunition throughout at the range. So let's see, I've had a few people ask me, not via my YouTube channel, but they've asked me about these sights and their, do they snag and so on. And of course, I just got this. So I don't have a ton of pocket carry holsters. I've got this thing which I used with a P3AT. I don't know exactly what it was designed for, but it was designed for something small. It is a leather holster. It's not 100% form fit, but you can see it's fully encompasses the LCP, and of course there's really no snagging issues with this holster. I've got this one, and excuse me while I'm off camera here, I'm just kind of playing around with, this is a pocket tuck. I'm not exactly sure who makes this. This might be a DeSantis. Anyway, this is a type of inside the pocket holster that's designed to go inside your pants pocket, and this part kind of catches in your pocket, so if you have to reach your hand in, you can draw out the firearm, and this flap supposedly will catch inside your pocket, and the whole holster stays in your pocket when the firearm comes out. Trying to see if this actually catches coming in and out. This edge right here is sewn, and there is some flappy material right here that is catching on the rear sight a little bit. Yeah, it does appear to catch a little bit going in. So I think when this gun is in this holster and you put this in your pocket, I don't think the draw is going to be a problem. Putting it back in there, it might bunch up. Sorry if that's not in frame. It might bunch up a little bit going in, but I don't see that being a problem with the draw, at least with this pocket tuck type of holster. Let's see if I've got something else that's compatible with this. I've got another leather holster here. This is an outside the waistband holster. I think this thing is left over from my PPK days. I think this was for something around the size of a PPK. But I did use this holster a little bit with my Kel-Tec P3AT. This does fit. This did fit my Kel-Tec. It does kind of fit this LCP, but it doesn't form fit in there. So this probably isn't something I'm going to use. These are just happen to be a few holsters I had laying around my shop here that I figure I'd try while I had the video running. So at least with the couple holsters I have, I really don't see these sights being a snagging issue at this point. Of course, that's going to be dependent upon what type of holster you have. You know, again, I use this for a deep cover concealment, and I know this is a crappy holster, but one of the reasons I like it is because it tucks deep. You can see where the clip is when you put this in your pants. There isn't really much sticking outside of your pants. If you look at it kind of like that, if it was tucked all the way down, pretty much all of this is inside the pants. So even if your shirt rides up, you're not going to see a grip of a firearm sticking out. So that's one of the reasons I like this. And then if I'm wearing cargo shorts or something like that, you know, this can fit in a cargo short pocket, and it doesn't really imprint, and you can reach in and grab it, and it works out great. So these are a couple of holsters I have right now. I might try a few more. Anyway, enough of that. Let me go ahead and break this apart, and let's take a look at the inside. Okay, the procedure for removing the slide on the LCP, if I can try and not knock the camera over, is basically to push back on the slide about 1/16 of an inch or so. You would then insert a blunt object or a small flat blade screwdriver right where this pin is, and you're going to have to pry upwards, and the pin will pop loose. It does have a recessed channel on it, so you've got to pry on it just a little bit. I recommend if you've got a solid plastic pry tool or a Delrin pry tool, that would probably be better than using a metal screwdriver that could slip and you could scratch something. Once you pop the pin out, the slide just comes right off. Of course, this is actually the first time I've removed this, so I don't see anything jumping out at me right now. You can see the top of the red trigger right there as I just kind of pull on it. I was just looking to see if there was any type of adjustments or anything like that. It doesn't appear to be. This is oiled up from the factory, Ruger. Don't see anything jumping out at me. Everything I see tells me that this is a very finely crafted firearm. Moving on from the frame, the slide, we have our recoil spring and our stainless steel guide rod, or I should say recoil springs. There's a double spring assembly, and this is the newest item that was added to this, the stainless steel guide rod. It is also oiled up, and it feels very smooth, so it's a very highly polished stainless steel guide rod. And our barrel. And barrel is lubed up, and it's also got a little bit of residue from the test firing. And then, of course, the slide. Again, nothing's jumping out at me. This looks like a very finely crafted firearm. The manual or the paperwork did state that the sights were not user serviceable, although I'm looking right now. Hopefully you're looking where I'm looking at. I'm looking right in here. I'm not sure how that front sight would come off, but it looks like it might be removable. It almost looks like that's a screw-on nut. Well, probably can't capture that on camera, but it almost looks like that's a screw-on nut right there. That might be removable with a customized tool. I don't know. It would be really nice to have actual night sights on here instead of this photoluminescent thing. And it looks like this rear sight looks like it's adjustable for windage. I'll have to read the user manual because I don't know, but it definitely looks like there's a threaded screw down in there that you could loosen up, which means if you can adjust it for windage, which that would mean you can remove it and replace it with something else. So the real question is the front sight on whether or not that's a serviceable item. I'll investigate that because if I can put 3-dot tritium night sights on this and somebody actually makes them, I'm going to do it. Let's see. I don't have any other talking points on my sheet. I'm impressed with everything I've seen so far. At this point, I think this was this is a good buy for $289, and I like all the upgrades that Ruger did to this. They addressed a lot of the shortcomings. At least in my mind, they were shortcomings on the previous generation Ruger LCP. So I'm looking forward to carrying this summer, and my next range day, I'll be shooting this at the range, and I'll give you my thoughts on it at that time also.